We received lots of questions here. And what I will try to do, I will try to have maybe the more relevant questions and keep the general questions to be shared by all the panel. There are some pointed questions that I will ask specific panelists. The rest will make a general comment and have people comment on it. The first question to Dr. Hashim Yamani is, what can the state of Georgia contribute to the development of atomic and renewable energy in Saudi Arabia?
Well, I can see a lot of possibilities, especially when we consider the different activities that we will be engaged in the alternative energy sector, and one of which is to do research and development. Of course, Georgia is very reputable in terms of research and development in its higher education institutions. And in fact, we have many top researchers in the kingdom who graduate from here, and they have a relationship with Georgia. And we would like to leverage these connections and create new ones to target specific areas of research, such as storage technologies and also training of our future workforce in the alternative energy.
We have quite a number of questions also on the issue of developing the regulation, standard testing and certification infrastructure for the industry to support the solar and other alternative energy. And also a recurrent question is the role for the Saudi private sector in the nuclear energy area.
I think I can, in general, say that as far as the most important infrastructure is, of course, the electricity grid and the grid to desalination facilities, and these we will be working very closely with the Saudi electricity company and also the offshoot of the company that is now being created to transport energy from different generation spots in the country. But the whole sector of renewable will have to be optimized for the local environment. And I think there is a lot of research in terms of efficiency, effect of local environments such as sand, and in fact even the high intensity that we have is not necessarily straightforward that it will increase efficiency. We need to verify these things. So a whole work of standardization and research that we would like to see done in the kingdom, especially in research and development universities such as King Abdullah University for Science and Technology, University of Petroleum and Minerals in Dhahran, King Saud, and others. We would like to really get them to do a lot of this research to ascertain what is optimum for our environment.
On the private sector, the Saudi private sector involvement.
Yes,
Would you want to elaborate a little more?
Very much so. I think
there are a lot of people interested in that issue.
As I mentioned, we are very much not only interested, we insist on leveraging these technologies to spill over into the private sector revival. And we have done a lot of studies to identify opportunities of manufacturing and services in the whole value chain. And we have identified many opportunities, which, as I mentioned, through many of the stakeholders meetings, we have discussed with our private sector companies. And once it is the energy mix is fixed and the time scale is fixed, then we will be announcing it very strongly to make sure that our people are ready to engage in the manufacturing and services.
Very good. I have a question for Mr. Panaman. Please update us on the status of the 123 agreement with Saudi. The second part of that question is, does the U.S. industry need to work with DOE to explain the benefits?
Well, as I briefly alluded to in my remarks, we already have, going back to 2008, a memorandum of understanding which permits a lot of basic communications between our companies and their Saudi counterparts in nuclear. The question presented about a 123 agreement is when you reach a level of significance in cooperation, utilization facilities, reactors, and so forth, you do need this framework agreement named after the governing provision of the Atomic Energy Act, Section 123. We have analyzed the question of the 123 agreement within the U.S. government, not only with respect to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, but all of our potential partners. There are a number of countries with whom we already have signed 123 agreements. The last one that entered into force was the one that entered into force about a year or so ago with Russia. So we have been working to conclude an overarching framework to how the United States is going to try to embrace President Obama's Prague vision, which talks about creating a new international framework for peaceful nuclear cooperation in a manner that these 123 agreements supports it. And I think we are now in a good place moving forward to embark on conversations with a number of governments, including the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, on what that vision looks like. So that's the first answer. On the second, we still very much believe in the render unto Caesar what is Caesar's, and we are not the private sector. We're the government. So what we can do, and it's essential in an area like nuclear, where by virtue of the inherent security aspects that are implied by atomic fission and the inherent radiological protection issues, that there will always be a government policy and oversight role. That having been said, once we establish that set of basic ground rules, it's really up to private industry to make its own decisions about what to do it. I would say about nuclear more broadly that when it comes to any policy that the success of which can only be measured over decades, and nuclear is certainly such a policy, that it's only going to succeed if you have strong partnership between government and industry. Certainly that has been the case so far with nuclear. I would certainly expect it to be the case going forward.
Thank you. We're running a little bit short of time, but we will go quickly. There is one question for Mr. Sushu about the GE as a global player. How does GE as a global player plan to address the unique climatic and environmental issues in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia for solar, such as dust and sand and so on? I think this is a general question. I would like you to answer, to respond to it. And then I would like also the panelists to think about the next question, which I will give a minute to each, on the viability of nuclear energy versus other alternative energy resources. There were a lot of questions on that issue. So, please.
So the environment in Saudi Arabia obviously is unique and can be harsh. And so over the last 5 years, since the wind business has been maturing, we've actually been investing in what we call a hot weather package, a sand package for wind turbines, erosion, how do the blades treated, and we're doing that in conjunction with some of our partners in the kingdom. So KAUST, the King Abdullah University of Science and Technology, is a partner. You know, we've opened some relationships with our Corporate Research and Development Center, which is where we kind of do the upfront sort of technology development. So they helped us develop the wind blades and the extension of the blades and the technologies associated with that. So we're investing today for what I'll call a Saudiized wind turbine technologies, both heat and adverse conditions like sand and wind storms. And then we'll advance that into solar as well. So with our partners in Saudi Arabia, we are today investing in what it will take to create machines that will survive that environment going forward.
It's very interesting that when Dr. Yamani was working on alternative energy resources 20-some years ago, I would say, one of the main issues that he was looking at is the environmental impact of Saudi Arabia on the solar technology. Okay, let's go to the last question, which is nuclear versus others. I know the opinion of Mr. Brown, but we will give you a chance at it as well. So we start with you.
Okay, thank you. I'm a fan. Nuclear energy needs to be a part of the core energy mix. So I'm a big supporter. In fact, I was in Japan last week, and I would say that even in Japan, I think there was the initial reaction, shut down the plants, but now there's an acknowledgement that nuclear is going to continue to be a core component of their energy system, probably delivering more than 20% of the energy for that country over the long term. You know, the issues you have with nuclear, everybody knows. It's about time to generation, and it's about ultimate cost when you start to factor in you know, changing and evolving regulations during the time of the build out. I will put in a little pitch for solar, which is if you decide to build a 1 gigawatt solar plant, again, you've got the ultimate optionality. You can commit to a 1 gigawatt solar project, and because it comes in effect in 1 megawatt blocks, you can shut that down and put in another technology at any point during the build out of that 1 gigawatt project.
Okay, I see Mr. Sushu.
I would say GE, you would argue, is the ultimate believer in diversity. So, you know, we believe that national energy policy is unique to every individual country, every individual situation, and therefore a broad technology portfolio is absolutely necessary. So we believe in, like any great parent, we love all our children. So we believe in solar technology, we believe in wind, we believe in nuclear, all in different mixes in the different environments. But if you take a look at Saudi Arabia, a place where you will have large generation needs over the future, you know, scale, base load power makes perfect sense in that environment, and various forms of distributed power will as well. So you have to deal with base load, intermediate load, peak load. You have to be able to deal with the local environments and regulations. And the bottom line is, you know, we believe in a broad technology portfolio strategy, and that every country, every environment will mix those technologies unique to their own situation.
Okay, Mr. Bernard.
I have 5 children. I love all my children too, but some perform better than others. Hence nuclear power, huh? I mean, today I don't think anybody in the United States who receives electricity from nuclear power would say, let's shut down the plant. It's the most economical, long-term solution for base load power that's environmentally friendly, period. Although we have to go through, anytime we have an incident that reflects the safety of the people in and operating and around the plant, we have to make improvements, and I think the Westinghouse passive technology does that. When we have coal mine accidents, we make improvements in the mines. We don't shut down the coal mines. And in the long term, for security and base load power, environmentally friendly, nuclear is simply a good choice. Perhaps not the only choice. I have another child that performs pretty well. But nuclear is one that I think that if the U.S. had to do all over again, I believe we'd rather have 40% of nuclear power today rather than 20%, because today it's the low-cost producer of electricity in the United States.
Mr. Poneman has written 3 books on the issue, so we'll give you a minute to.
I think you're going to find your panel is in violent agreement. It's really an old question, and I think the pivot was a 2003 MIT study that said the question used to be, is it fossil or conservation or nuclear or renewables? And the answer is it's and. It's all of it for the reasons my distinguished colleagues have said. If you're looking for large quantities of of base load electricity with zero carbon emissions, nuclear obviously is a choice. There are the capital cost issues. The renewable, which we have heavily invested in and have great hopes for the future, obviously a vital aspect. And conservation has got to be and also indispensable part of the MISC, often the low-cost, low-hanging fruit lying on the ground, as my boss often likes to say. And let's face it, with the coal resources that remain around the world and the dependence in places like China and India and the United States itself, coal and carbon capture sequestration are obviously also going to have to be part of the MISC mix, and so we're going to have to be investing across the board.
In Saudi Arabia, we're lucky because we don't have to work with this one or the other question. In fact, we think of all of the resources as complementary, and as you have, in my speech, I tried to start from basic principle and use two basic criteria, how to complement the different resources, including fossil itself, nuclear and renewable, or renewable comes also in many different kinds, in order to create an energy mix that carries us to the next level of sustainability and economic development by developing real value chain in Saudi Arabia.
Thank you very much. This has been an interesting panel, so thank you very much.